If you're new to Wake County or you're planning to move here, you've probably heard that the Wake County Public School System, or WCPSS for short, is far more complex than most school systems in the rest of the country. And you know what? It's true. From different school calendars to application schools, magnet schools, school capping, transportation, the complexities can feel really overwhelming. But don't worry, I am here to simplify it for you today. Here we go. Hi everyone, I'm Heather Taylor, founder of Tailored Realty Group, where we create real estate experiences tailored to who? That's right, tailored to you. I think I've had too much coffee today. Anyway, before we get rolling here today, I do want to ask you to like and subscribe to my channel so that you can stay up to date on the content that matters most to your relocation decisions. Now, back in 2020, my younger self made a video covering everything about the Wake County Public School System, but since 5 years have passed and things tend to change over time, I'm making this updated version so I can share the most up-to-date information to help all of the newcomers navigate this Wake County Public School System with confidence. Today, we're going to cover all the big topics. I'm talking about different school calendar options, base schools versus application schools, capped schools, and then I will actually navigate the Wake County Public School System website with you to show you how to register your student and a bunch of other stuff that is available to you on the website. Oh, and stick around to the end because I'll also share a few tips I've learned along the way as I've navigated through this system, including some information about school selection consultants who offer personalized assistance in helping you navigate all these school choices. Are you ready? Let's go. Let's talk about calendar options. The Wake County Public School System offers 3 different calendar options for schools. Let me break it down for you, starting with the traditional calendar. The traditional calendar follows the typical schedule probably most of us are used to and probably most of us grew up with. That's where you go to school all year, then you're off for the summers to do whatever you want to do and wreak havoc in whatever way you choose to do that. But Wake County also offers other calendar options, the most common of which is the year-round calendar. Schools with a year-round calendar operate on a rotating schedule of 9 weeks on and then 3 weeks off, 9 weeks on, 3 weeks off. You get the pattern, that's how it goes. Now, schools operating on a year-round calendar divide students into several tracks. So there's always one track in school and up to 3 other tracks that are out of school at any given time. Each track has its own specific schedule, so it's important to check the school calendars to understand when your student will be in and out of school. One thing to keep in mind while we're on this topic is that sometimes those 3-week breaks can align with other all school holidays and create even longer breaks, specifically like around the Christmas, New Year's break. So when that happens, your kids could have as much as 5 weeks off, which can be good or bad depending on how your family operates. I know sometimes those breaks would sneak up on me, and 5 weeks can be a lot if you don't have something planned. Right about now, you might be wondering, why does Wake County offer year-round calendar options? And I'm glad you asked. Year-round calendar options help to reduce overcrowding because somewhere around 25%, give or take, of the students are out of school at any given time. It also helps to reduce the summer learning loss that happens when kids have long breaks from school, and it allows families to plan vacations at less busy times of the year. Okay, and the final calendar that exists is a little bit of a less common one. It's called modified calendar. Schools with a modified calendar start earlier in the summer, typically like late July, and then they have longer breaks throughout the year. In Wake County, it's the early colleges and leadership academies that are most often on the modified calendar. And we'll talk a little bit more about what kind of schools those are in a moment. So each calendar option kind of has its benefits and challenges. My kids have attended both traditional and year-round schools, so feel free to book a free consultation on my website if you want to talk a little bit more about that. All right, you're probably an expert on calendars now, so let's slide into our second topic, and that is base schools versus application schools. Now, pay attention here because understanding the difference, not that you weren't paying attention before, but you know what I'm saying. Understanding the difference between base schools and application schools can be critical in making the best choice for your child's education. Starting with base schools, every address in Wake County is assigned to a base elementary, middle, and high school. Now for elementary and middle school, your base school might have a year-round calendar or they might have a traditional calendar. However, almost all high schools operate on a traditional calendar. Your student's base school is determined by your home address, and your student is guaranteed a spot in their base school unless the school is capped. But I'm gonna get into capped schools in a little bit, and I'm also gonna show you how to navigate the website to find out what your base school is. Now, say you're assigned to a base school and you don't like the calendar. It's assigned to a traditional calendar. You wanna be year-round calendar. The good news is you can apply to the opposite calendar school, which brings me to application schools. Application schools are schools you can apply to, but you are not guaranteed acceptance. I want to repeat that. You are not guaranteed acceptance into application schools. That means if you're moving to the area and you plan to send your kids to public schools, make sure you're happy with the base school that you've been assigned to. Now, when you look up your base school online, you will see that in addition to your base school, there'll be a long list of application schools assigned to your address. There are 3 types of application schools. There's the opposite calendar school, magnet schools, and early college high schools. Opposite calendar schools are pretty simple to understand. They're going to provide you with a similar educational experience to your base school, but with the opposite calendar. So if your base school has a traditional schedule, you can apply to a year-round school and vice versa. Magnet schools, on the other hand, offer tons of specialized programs and themes like STEM, arts, leadership, global studies, and a whole bunch more. For example, my daughter started out at a leadership magnet school, and the whole curriculum was based on Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So those 7 habits were integrated into every part of the curriculum. I loved it as a foundation for their learning, and bonus, I learned a few things along the way. And in fact, a couple years ago, I did an entire video on magnet schools. I will put a link to that somewhere up here. Although some parts of it may be a little bit outdated, I probably should update that video too, but the general idea remains the same. And the third type of application schools are early college high schools, which are designed to help students get a head start on college while they earn their high school diplomas. Now, these schools focus on preparing first-generation college-going students for post-secondary study. So up to 70% of the available seats at an early college high school are prioritized for qualified applicants who identify as first-generation college-going. Follow all that? I hope so. In order to apply to any of the application schools I just mentioned, families must participate in the WCPSS lottery. The application process typically opens late fall, and placements are based on availability, your priority, and the lottery's outcome. All right, now before we start navigating the website together, let's get into our third section, and that is capping, a term that might be new to some of you. Capping occurs when a school reaches its maximum student enrollment capacity. When a school is capped, new students may be assigned to a nearby overflow school instead of their base school. Now, to learn whether your student will be able to attend a base school that is capped, you should start by contacting the data manager at your base school. There may be available seats in certain grades at capped schools, so in other words, you might still be able to get into a capped school even though it's capped. Some people see or hear capped and they think there's no way they're getting in, which isn't entirely true. But if you do not get in, you'll be put on a waiting list and you may be called back to your base school when a spot opens up. In order to find out whether your base school is capped, you can check directly with the school or you can check on the website, which brings me to our next section. Let's jump into that website and navigate it together. WCPSS.net is where we are going to begin, and here you will see the homepage for the Wake County Public School System. Now there's tons of information on here, so I'm gonna drive you to probably the most important places for you to start, which is how do I get my child enrolled and how do I know what schools are available? So let's start there. My favorite place to do that, there's several different ways to get to all these places, but I like to click this enrollment link right here. And the number one thing you're gonna have to know first and foremost is what is your base school? Your base school is going to kind of determine everything going forward, and in order to register, you first have to find your base school. All of the rest of the registration instructions are also on this page, what documentation you'll need. You also need a proof of immunizations and a health assessment. So all of that information on how to enroll is right here. But when you're looking for homes, you first often want to know what schools are assigned to a certain home. So we start here at this address lookup tool, and we are going to put in an address. I just like to use an old address where I used to live. There we go. And you'll see this is different from my last video. What pops up here are your base school assignments. That's for this year and for next year. Now, as we look through these base school assignments, you'll see elementary school, you are assigned to Apex Elementary. It's going to tell you what calendar you're going to be on, so that's the traditional calendar, and then what type of transportation you can get. There are 3 types of transportation. Neighborhood is neighborhood busing, meaning the bus is going to come right through your neighborhood and your student is going to get on the bus in your neighborhood. The second type is express busing, and those only stop at a couple different locations in town, so you will have to take your student to one of those locations in order to get on the express bus. And the final type of transportation is basically you drive them. So for all of your base schools, transportation will always be provided. Now, if you want to know what your other options are, what schools can you apply to from this address, you would click on this link, the magnet link, and re-enter the address. You used to not have to do that. I kind of liked the way they had it set up before better, but nobody cares what I think. Anyway, here are your elementary magnet school options for this address. As you can see, and as I mentioned, there are lots of different options. So you will see the name of the school and then the program. This is the magnet program that they're offering. And then the type of busing, or the type of transportation, I'm sorry. And then if you click here, you can see where all the different stops are. So these buses don't make these express buses don't make a ton of stops. They only make a few, which can be nice. It's just you have to get your student to one of these locations. So as you can see, tons of options for for magnet schools. And then somewhere in here, there will probably be an opposite calendar. Let's see if we can find that as we scroll down. There it is. This is your opposite calendar option. So we know that you're assigned to Apex, that's a traditional schedule. If you want to apply to a year-round option, you're gonna have to apply right here to Laurel Park Year-Round Elementary. Now, I'm gonna scroll back up real quick here, and it's the same when you click this and go back and see what their middle school options are and then what your high school options are. And when you go to high school options, you will start to see some of the early colleges, North Wake College, and this one is an early college, and then this one's an early college. So you start to see the early colleges when you look in the high school tab. Okay, so now you know what schools are available to you. And let's go back to the home page here. If you decide, okay, I do want to go to one of those application schools, how do I do that? All of that information is also provided on the website for you. If you go to Programs and click on Magnet Schools, everything you need to know about how to apply to magnet schools and how to navigate that whole process is all right here on the website. Now, if you want to know what schools are available, like of all the schools, regardless of where I live, what are the magnet schools available? Click there on Schools and Themes. And then if you click on this Magnet and Early Colleges directory, you will see all of the possible schools. And as you can see, there are a ton of them, plenty of options. I won't scroll through the whole thing, but you get the gist there. A couple other things I wanted to go through with you. Let's go back to the home page and let's find out if your school is capped. I'm gonna cheat a little bit here. You would of course first go to the enrollment page. I was unsure about an address that would have capped schools, so I went ahead and did that a little bit ahead of time. So we're gonna pop over here and I picked an address that has schools that are capped. So if you see how it looks here, you would check out your base school and you see the signed base school has a cap. Your overflow school is Turner Creek Elementary. And then if you scroll down, the high school, Apex Friendship High School, this school has a cap. So that's how you know whether your school is capped. If you want to know which schools are capped, just a full list of capped schools, you would go to student enrollment, student assignment under the Families tab. And on the left side there, you'll see enrollment caps. Click on that. And there's a lot of information about enrollment caps and what all of that means. But if you scroll all the way down, you will see which schools are capped and when they were capped. There's one other cool thing that I want to show you, and this might be overkill, but I just think this is kind of neat. If we go to the enrollment section and we look up your address again, you'll see this link for an interactive map viewer. This is going to show you what areas are assigned to what particular school. So this can come in handy if you know you want to attend, for example, let me pick a random school. You know you want to attend Yates Mill Elementary School. And if you look on this map, you will see all of the addresses that are assigned to Yates Mill Elementary School. And the same, if you want to know about middle schools, you just hit that drop down and then you'll see what areas are assigned to particular schools. So this can be valuable if you know you want to be in a particular school and you want to know where you should be looking at houses in order to attend that school. But that wraps up our Navigating the Wake County Public School System section. I hope that was helpful. Before we wrap up, as promised, here are a few helpful tips based on my experience with the Wake County Public School System. First of all, please be friendly to the school data managers. They are going to be your biggest fan or enemy depending on how you treat them. Another tip is if you're new to the area, join one of those local Facebook pages. I know they can sometimes be a lot of drama, but if you ask specific questions about specific schools, you'll actually get some answers from people who attend there, so you kind of get the boots on the ground view of a school. Another thing to consider is the challenges of renting versus buying. Now, a lot of people come here from out of state and they want to rent first so they can get to know the area, which I totally understand. But something to keep in mind if you've got young kids and you're concerned with them switching schools a whole bunch, if you rent first, you may end up buying in an area that's assigned to a different school system. If you want to talk more about that, just book a free consultation on my website and we will go over it in detail. And finally, I want to mention to you school selection consultants. If you are feeling overwhelmed by all of this information, you might be interested in engaging a school selection consultant. School selection consultants offer personalized guidance on varying school choices, including both public and private schools. My favorite is School Up Wake, that is run by Libby Taylor, no relation to me, but I will leave links and resources in the description below, so be sure to check those out. All right, that's it for today's breakdown of the Wake County Public School System. If you're thinking of moving to or relocating within the area, please book a free consultation on my website. I'd love to help you. Now, if you have any questions or comments you'd like to share, feel free to drop them in the comments below. All right, I am out of here. I'll see you next week. Bye.